があるとマイクみたいになりたい。でも電話してくれない。オークランドとブックレンドから世界チャンピオンバーチャルプローズ始まるよ。バーチャルプローズ。
To my motherfucking man, 50 grand, the alcoholic man, inject a tall can in his bloodstream if he can. Biggie Smalls, the 50 stroker, MC provoker, chocolate tie smoker. Huh? I like to max and Maximas and Acuras. Your girl butt cheeks, I'm smacking. Huh? The raw rapper, spine snapper with the little, cause all my lap a shot, the ball, I ain't your fucking comforter. And if I ever fall in love, I bet I'm fucking up.
The things we do for the Virtual Pros universe. This is episode 125 of That World Champion Sound Virtual Pros podcast. My name is Al, aka Henny Omega, and with me, my main oos, Mike.
Hey, what's up, motherfuckers? It's Mike, and I think we are good.
Yeah, we have some issues with my mic here. This blue snowball. It might be rip in peace time for this. I might have to. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I can just like strip it and sell it off and make cards out of it.
You could.
We'll see.
Make some relic cards.
So if it sounds weird or not as clear as it usually does, it's because I'm using the laptop mic. Yeah. So
we're a bunch of poors now. We're a poor person podcast using laptop mics. So,
Mike, we have a total of one email, I think, for this episode, and that's fine because I think this episode's going to fly, and that's not bad.
We actually have 2 emails and 1 question in the Discord, so it grew a little.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the question in the Discord is amazing, too. Again, as we stated at the top, Al's having some internet problems, and outside of the laptop thing, it's a little, like, I can see the ping going a little crazy, so if one of us laughs, like, 35 seconds after somebody said something funny, it's probably because the ping's a little messed up on this, but I think we're good. As long as we don't talk over each other a lot, I think it'll be fine. But the first email is from Andrew. It's titled Question for the Show. What's up, Vert Bags? We all know cards are back, but are digital collectibles here? I'm not talking the New Japan app. I mean NBA Top Shot, where you own video highlights. Packs are $9 for 3 clips, but they're sold out every time I've looked. The only Tyrese Halliburton on the market currently is a jump shot from December. It's limited to 4,000 and the cheapest one available is just under $900. Thoughts on this type of collectible? And when the WWE version inevitably drops in 3 years, what moments are you hoping to pull out of your first pack to get filthy rich? What investments would you be after on the marketplace? Assume if it's on the network, it's fair game. Peace, Andrew, aka Cardi BGS 9.5. aka Riding on Top's Chrome, aka the rated rookie superstar.
Incredible.
This is this Top Shot thing is like it's a hot topic. Multiple people have asked us to talk about this. I checked it out yesterday just to see what it was like. Andrew was right. The packs are just always sold out and they go for ridiculous amounts. Like I was just searching for I searched for Boban and it's like Boban doing the most remedial dunk, and it's just like cool dunk, or it says something like that, and it's like $2,500, and I'm just like, that's crazy. But I mean, when you think about it, everything people collect is like silly to somebody else. But this new market we have of just like making things in order for it to be highly collectible and sell for a lot of money is very strange. But it's no different. I don't think it's any different from cards. I think it's crazy that the inflation on these, where it's just it goes from $9 packs to like, you know, these things get up into the tens of thousands for a clip of like a GIF basically of an NBA player, and you don't own this footage. You don't you like NBA doesn't have to ask for your permission to show that Boban dunk. Like you don't own it. You just own like basically a virtual card. I don't know if that tens of thousands of dollars on these things is going to hold up, and I don't even know how it started. Like, I think there's some foul play going on, and I don't know. They like, I don't know. It's just such a strange thing to just immediately inflate. But as a thing that people collect, it honestly, like, to this day and age, I'm sure anybody that's like 20 and under, I'm sure this makes more sense to them than fucking cards, like cardboard cards, like physical stuff. You got to think people that are just like in their early 20s now have had so little physical media in their lives that doing something like this would be, it would seem, kind of its time. I do think if WWE was ever to get in on something like this, this is the perfect thing for them. I think this is like an idea they couldn't even fuck up. I don't know if it would go for tens of thousands of dollars, but if you were to sell me a $10 clip or a $10 pack, virtual pack of 3 clips of just like random, as long as it wasn't all new, if it was stuff from the entire history of WWF, and I could get like, that moment of King Kong Bundy splashing Andre the Giant's ribs out of his body. Like if like there was a promise of stuff like that in there, I would definitely, and for it to increase in value, I would definitely be in line to get that. But yeah, so overall it's a weird thing, but I think it's only weird because we're old, and the part that it seems to be incredibly inflated seems to like to be some foul play to me. But Al's more of an expert, so what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely is a hot topic amongst my friends that are investors. My friend, he's dipped his toes into buying virtual furniture and virtual art. And I just think, like, for me, I can't do it because I just kind of see someone just holding the bag at the end of this, and it's going to be fucking sad. Like, people are going to mortgage their houses on, like, TJ Warren layup clips. And it's just not for me. I just don't really see the joy of, like, I can't see myself like 2 years down the road, like flipping through my digital video library card that I own of, I don't know, Harrison Barnes hitting a jumper from the elbow. It just doesn't appeal to me, but I never really thought of, the perspective of like the younger generation not really being attached to tangible things. But in terms of like if wrestling dipped their toes into collectible videos, I guess the smart play would be to like invest in world title wins, I suppose. That would be my play, but of course, like I would want shit like, I don't know, Takamichi Inoki versus Triple H and him almost winning the title, like dumb stuff like that. Maybe I could see myself dropping like $5 on something like that, but nothing serious, not like cards, at least for me. Next email is from Daniel, titled, Yow! Hey, Al and Mike, hoping you guys are keeping safe, sane, and healthy. Cheers to Mike for hitting me up with the raw versions of the podcast. Appreciate you being cool with my thirstiness. Damn, Mike, you did that for real? That's crazy. I listened to a podcast retrospective on Shinsuke Nakamura lately, and it prompted me to A, buy his book, and B, remember that prior to his WWE run, he was my favorite pro wrestler in the world. What are your favorite memories of Nakamura in New Japan and in his later years getting paid to surf off the coast of Florida? And before I'm out, let us know your favorite Beyonce song. All right, I'm out. Keep rocking the digital airwaves, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, I think I credited Shinsuke for kind of jump-starting my wrestling fandom again, which kind of directly made virtual pros a thing. So, of course, I have to shout out the Nakamura versus Ibushi match from Wrestle Kingdom 9, which I've seen like a lot of times, like since it aired, and I think it holds up pretty perfectly. So, I mean, I think that's my A1 favorite New Japan memory from him. And I mean, I was there. I paid resale tickets to see him versus Sami Zayn at NXT, and that was fucking sick. I think the highlight, though, was him and Asuka winning the Royal Rumble in the same night. It was a pretty big time for the Asians that night. But, of course, we got hoed out a couple months later. And, dude, like, I was getting kind of excited because he ran that gauntlet recently, and I was like, are they going to do him versus Roman at WrestleMania? I mean, there is kind of like a backstory of him eliminating Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. So maybe they do it, but they're not going to do it. And that's fine. I think he's totally okay with cutting those checks and taking pictures of water towers, whatever he does on Instagram. If he's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't have any specific New Japan Shinsuke Nakamura. Actually, first, before that, I didn't know his book is in English, or did Dan just buy this book that he can't read?
Yeah, maybe it's a photo book that Daniel bought. No, there's actually like an English version of. Oh,
I didn't know that. I'll buy that. I didn't know they had like an English. What was it, like his biography?
I didn't read it, but I know there's an English version.
I'll look into that. Yeah, I just assumed that I remember him talking about or seeing something about a book, but I assumed it was just in Japanese. But I'll look it up.
I think he should talk Shibata in the book, so maybe that's a thing you can look forward to.
Oh man, I hope this is I'm a millennial myself, so I hope, or I'm a Zoomer myself. So I hope they have this on ebook because I don't buy physical books, so I'll have to look into it. No, I don't have any specific New Japan memories, but kind of like what Al said, not to get too into it, but I think there's there's kind of like a layer between getting into Japanese wrestling that is hard to break because you don't understand the gimmicks or characters or anything like that. And I think you have to like really set your mind to it. And I did that like a long time ago, and then I moved on with my life. And like Al said, like Shinsuke Nakamura is one of the reasons I got back into Japanese wrestling, because it was a very recognizable character, basically, where you could go, there's that guy. I know that guy. He has this charisma to him. And, if you watch, once you're into Japanese wrestling, you don't notice it, but there is that kind of barrier when you don't understand promos, that you need some kind of like character to like attach to really quickly. That's why, like, when people ironically say they like all those like small indie, like Japanese promotions that are just like literally like the most faceless salary men type of wrestlers that are just in underwear, and they're just doing holds, I'm just like, no one really likes this. Like, there's no characterization to this at all. Why would you like this? There's millions of things out there you could like. Why would you choose this? And that's like the ultimate barrier, I think, is to just be like, I love Japanese wrestling so much I could watch this most boring thing ever. But yeah, so Shinsuke, like, I think he brought a lot of people back because he had that character, and then you watch him, and then you get into like Oka's character and Tanahashi and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I credit him for.
Before we dip on this email, though, what's your favorite Beyonce song?
I am a Beyonce hater, so I don't have many.
What?
Yeah, I went into this on an episode of All Holes Filled where I just like, I hate to sound like a fucking grumpy punk rock person, but we live in like a wealth of technology where you can listen to any songs on at your fingertips, just any song you want, millions of songs within seconds. And I don't want to listen to the songs that you're like the 10 songs a year you're forced to hear 7 million times everywhere you go. So shit like Beyonce, like any of that type of shit, like I can't deal with it. But I like the To the Left song. I think that's probably my favorite Beyonce song. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that she has like catchy stuff, but I just like fucking hate it. So yeah, I like Destiny's Child like back in the day. So. But yeah, I think as far as Beyonce songs, I like the To the Left song.
For me, Daniel, it's Party. Party's my all-time favorite Beyonce song. And she did her thing on Me, Myself, and I. What a Scott Storch banger that was.
Okay. This Discord is from Johnny. This is a great one. Greetings. This week on the Filthy Four podcast, Brian Alvarez revealed he has Burger King cut his chicken sandwiches diagonally when he orders them because they taste better. This is one of the most appalling things I have ever heard a grown man say in a public forum. And if I wasn't already bootlegging these shows, I think this would be enough to get me to cancel my subscription. Am I overreacting? Where would this rank on the Austin Aries promise ring scale of credibility killing acts that you can't recover from? Also, if you guys have some weird fast food habits of your own, now would be the time to fess up to them so I can decide whether I will keep listening or not. Thanks, Johnny, a.k.a. Zicky Rice, a.k.a. Corpus Christi Janes. This is ridiculous on so many levels. First off, I've never worked at Burger King. I worked at Pizza Hut, and I think anytime we got like weird requests, like back then being vegan and vegetarian wasn't like it was now. There was very few of them. And I think even at the time I worked, I might have been vegetarian there, but I remember this vegetarian family would come in and they would want you to cut it with like a different knife or like a different slicer than what we use for the meat. Like, no, they weren't even vegan; they were vegetarian, and it's just like, okay, dude, like, what do you think's going to happen? So stuff like that, you get anchovy juice all over your pizza when you make requests like that, and I can't imagine. I've never worked at Burger King. I imagine working at Burger King is 30,000 times worse than working at Pizza Hut. When I worked at Pizza Hut, it's mostly delivery. I was just fucking making pizzas. It's pretty chill. I imagine Burger King fucking sucks to work at. So if some fucking adult came in and not only asked me to chop the fucking Burger King in half like a maniac, but to specifically request it was diagonally. Oh my God, dude. I cannot believe that anybody at Burger King would honor this. He has eaten so much spit in his life, man. There is no fucking way. And from all accounts I've heard, like, first off, let's just set it straight that Brian Alvarez is like the most Marty Jannetty person in his line of work. He is like such the Marty Jannetty to Dave Meltzer. But at the same time, they work good together. I think Brian Alvarez is more of a, like, kind of the image of all of the rest of like the quote unquote wrestling journalists, and Dave Meltzer is the diamond that shines the brightest. But I don't Brian Alvarez has always come off that type of person to me. So the fact that he openly admitted on his own radio show that he fucking goes to Burger King and has somebody cut his, that is you have every right on earth to not listen to that show and unsubscribe, I think. I mean, I don't listen to any of the Brian Alvarez shows because they are like that, where it's just like, I think once I caught on to where they made like a big deal about drinking once a year, I was just like, man, fuck these guys. Like, they're assholes. But yeah, dude, anybody out there, I don't have any fast food weird habits, because just like I said, I've worked at Pizza Hut enough to know that any weird requests, you're getting spit in your food or something else weird in your food, or it's getting dropped on the ground or something disgusting. So if anybody out there has any weird requests and it's not a Chipotle where you could watch people making your food, it's definitely getting fucked with, like 100%. So just keep that in mind when you're being a weirdo at fucking Burger King or whatever. But yeah, this is ridiculous.
That's pretty unacceptable. However, I will give Brian Alvarez his props, because I think he flexed his book sales, and he said that they've grossed more, or at least close to what WCW sold for. That's a fucking hard-ass flex, Mike. Come on. Right? I
mean, like, he has those moments, like when he, like you mentioned before, when he changed his avatar to the judo gi, like minutes after getting in a fight with somebody on Twitter. That's pretty cool. But overall,
yeah, it was Ryback.
Yeah. Overall, he seems like a giant fucking baby, and like by all accounts that I've heard of experiences with him in real life, this is very true. So,
I mean, the only time I do like custom fast food is at In-N-Out, and I think that's expected, and it's not even fucking crazy. All I want is a grilled onion and chopped chilies. That's it. I don't think it's that big of an ask, but it does make my double taste that much better. That was it, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, like I had said previously, if you want to ask us any questions, hit us at virtualpro64@gmail.com, or ask them on the Discord. That was a great question. Pretty short two-man scramble from me. First and foremost, Paul White, aka The Big Show. He's now AEW bound. So, Mike, rank these three situations in order of what you prefer. 1, Paul White coming out as Captain Insano. 2, The Big Show with a sport jacket with a vape hooked to a lanyard. Or 3, the Giant in a singlet ripping a heater in the middle of the ring.
It's tough out of the 2 and 3, and 1 I don't care about, but 2 and 3, man, I honestly think 2 is going to happen. I think that's definitely going to happen. Just because at first I was joking about it, like, oh, I'll let him vape. But then I was thinking about it. And when Rusev Mero came to AEW, they just let him his gimmick be a gamer. And it's like, what are you doing, man? This is a stupid gimmick. But it's cool. They let let him do this dumb shit. And that's legitimately his gimmick, is he just loves video games, and Big Show loves vaping. So I think that would happen. So I would go with him ripping a heater just because I think it's the least likely, but I really do hope number 2 happens, and I think it's gonna.
Big Show's kind of a gamer too, right? Like, I feel like he plays like a really weird FPS. Like, he's like super, super into it.
Yeah. So
which one was it? Do you remember?
No, somebody mentioned in the Discord, and I can't remember. But yeah, it's a weird one.
Okay. Second one, the Stardom hair match, Tam Nakano versus Julia. It's going to take place after this episode. Where's your hype level on it? I'm
pretty hyped, man. That pay-per-view is a little too expensive for me. It's $44. And it's obviously at a dumb time, so I'm not going to pay for it. I messaged Stardom, and I was like, hey, is this going to, because my fear is there, since it's a pay-per-view, it's not going to be on Stardom World, and I'm going to fucking freak out. And the fact that it's a pay-per-view makes me think they're going to take their goddamn time putting it up there. And there's no way I'm going to avoid spoilers. It's impossible. So I would just have to be off the internet for weeks. So I don't know. I might break down and even buy the pay-per-view. That's how hyped I am, man. I love hair versus hair matches. These are both, they're both very athletic women. They're both very beautiful women. And I've been thinking about it since I'm just like, maybe it's going to be a cop out. Julia has the shorter hair, so maybe she's just like, I can make it a little shorter, but I just don't see Tam Nakano beating Julia. So it's just like, this is the most hyped I've been for a wrestling card probably within the last year, like the last calendar year. It's just, I can't think of anything I've been this hyped for. I mean, I'm also hyped for that fucking AEW explosion match, but not as hyped as this, though. This is going to be a very good week coming up of wrestling. I'm very excited.
I'm up for it too, man. I'm pretty pumped as well. And I also had that thought. I think they might shave Julia's head.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Also, I think Mai Iwatani versus Yoshiko should also be super good.
And they're having like a kind of like a New Japan style. They're kind of having like a New Japan style Weird Royal Rumble where they have like a lot of the older stars coming back for it. So, yeah, it's just, and I think that part is free on YouTube. So yeah, it should be a really good show.
Yeah, it's a shame no Kairi Hojo this time around. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. My last question for 2 Minute Scramble. What is going to be the BJW multiplier from Dave Meltzer on this explosion match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega? I think it's going to be 10.
I think listening to him speak, I think he's seen the explosion matches before, and I think he's like he puts them into like the category of camp, where he's not like, this is violent, it's more campy. And the way AEW is leading up to this, like Dave Meltzer also mentioned on his radio show today, where he was just like, if they're doing this match, I don't know why they haven't bought footage from FMW and showed old explosion stuff so people know what it is. Because obviously, I mean, that shit's old and normal fans don't know what the fuck that shit is. So I'm thinking they're purposely not telling people because, like, I don't know, maybe they either don't want it, they don't want people who've never seen it before to see that old stuff and be like, oh, this is kind of silly, or it's the alternate and they're going to make it really silly. So I'm kind of worried about it. I don't think it's going to be like Dave Meltzer's brand of like, no, that's not for me violence, though. I think it's going to be enough of a show where he's not going to be grossed out by it. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they are going to go crazy and have like real barbed wire and shit. I don't know, but I think it's going to be more on the like the campier side, and he's not going to have like a huge problem with it.
Do you think they have like the Spaceman referee? I hope they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just very excited to see how they play it out. They had Kenny Omega on the AEW show yesterday, like in like a fucking garage building explosives and shit. So I don't know. Like I'm pretty excited for it.
That was my last one.
Okay. I guess I got one came up earlier, so I got 4. We got plenty of time. First one's real quick though. There's a new wrestling channel on Pluto. I'm only mentioning this because since the pandemic, I've probably talked about Pluto 17,000 times to people on podcasts, in real life, everywhere. I've just talked about Pluto, and to this day, people are still like, "What's Pluto?" And they're all people I know, and I know they've heard me talk about it. So I mean, I understand. You have to say you have to say something 100 times for like 3 people to like even register it these days, just because there's so much shit going on, so much information. It takes so long for something to register with people. But so I just wanted to mention for the people who are going to tell me a year from now that there's a wrestling channel on Pluto, that there is a wrestling channel on Pluto, and it's pretty cool. It's a mix of stuff that you would find on the IWTV streaming service, and then like weird bargain bin, old school, just like random shit that's pretty cool. Like there's episodes of Glow, and then they'll have like the best of the Nasty Boys, but it's not from WWF Nasty Boys. It's like AWA Nasty Boys, and just like shit you would find at dollar bins in Walmart and stuff. And it's pretty sweet. I mean, it's just like any channel on Pluto where you get sick of it after like a week or two. But again, Pluto is basically an app or like a channel you can download on literally anything, your phone, your fucking computer, Roku. You can probably download it on calculators at this point. It's everywhere. And it is like 500 free TV channels. And they're all like themed channels. And besides the wrestling one, they have a TNA or an Impact one. And they might have got rid of the AAA one. I don't know if that one's still there. But so they have several. Oh, the one thing they show on the wrestling channel is the Urban Wrestling Federation. And that shit is great. That aged very well. So it was a very weird era of New York rap, and mixing it with wrestling is really good. So yeah, just if you have Pluto or if you don't have Pluto, download it. Check out this wrestling channel, 732.
Does Red Cafe show up or no?
Fuck. I don't think he might. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. Like the only rapper that's coming to mind now is Uncle Murder, but obviously there's more than him. But he's the only one that I can remember at the moment. Let's see. I downloaded the AEW game just made an announcement that the AEW Casino is finally coming out, their iPhone game. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, they did a introduction to AEW games over the summer, where the big news was that they were making a console game, but they also mentioned they were making a general manager game for mobile, and also this AEW Casino, which is really strange because why the fuck does a wrestling company make a gambling, like a casino game? So I've been curious since then, and they said it was coming out real soon, and that was like several months ago, and they finally dropped it tonight, and I was very excited, and I downloaded it, and it's like, it's not AEW, it's definitely like they bought somebody's developed game and put like very mild AEW branding in it, and it's just one of those games that was made like by a 12-year-old that is just made to steal your bank information. It's just like the most fucking brokest, like click this to watch an ad, click that for free this. Like it's just like it takes so long to just get to actual playing anything because you have to click through all this shit that's just stealing all of your information. This is probably the sleaziest thing AEW has done since they've become a promotion. Honestly, even sleazier than just letting Chris Jericho be a piece of shit that votes for Trump and says he's not a political guy and all this shit. Like this sleazy, crappy, money stealing, bank information stealing, like fucking identity stealing app. Like, dude, do you have any quality control? Do not make apps like this. This makes your company look sleazy. Like, ugh, it is gross. So do not download the AEW Casino shit. It's fucking... I am not above playing like Candy Crush or games like that, and those games are horrible for you. But they are not as sleazy as this game. This game is 100 times more sleazy. It's one of those games you have to like search for to just find how bad they are on iPhone. So yeah, just stay far, far away from that game.
I saw the trailer and they cut to like the slot machines and like they weren't even like AEW design. No. Like they just used like old artifacts. Like there was like a deer hunting one, and I was like, they really went all out for this casino game. I mean, I know they did a casino themed pay-per-view, but
yeah.
I mean, as someone who has downloaded casino games in the past on their phone, and trust me, it's a bad look. I've done it, but it's because I was at the airport trying to kill time. I can't imagine myself ever playing this at all. So
yeah,
thanks for the.
I should say I downloaded it. It's like a million menus. Once you figure that out, you make your avatar, and I'm like going through the avatar, the create a guy, and I'm just like, I don't see any AEW merchandise. Like you could pick your clothes. It's weird that they wouldn't have 10,000 AEW shirts, but they don't have anything. Then I was like, that's weird. And then, there's no AEW shit on the menus. And I'm just like, fine, let me play blackjack. And I go to the blackjack thing, and it's just like, you're not even playing against wrestlers. There's no fucking Chris Jericho sitting in the corner or anything like that. There's nothing. So I try, and it's just like all just faceless, or not faceless, but just like characterless avatars. And I was just like, fuck this. And there's more time sucking games on my phone that are funner than this. So yeah, screw that game. But speaking of video games, and speaking of Top Shot, and speaking of cards, I have developed a hefty addiction this week to something that people have been addicted to for years. And so I could never get into it, but I finally broke down and started playing FIFA Ultimate Team for FIFA 21. I never got the hook before. I have a couple friends, Daniel from Check the Tape and a friend of the show, Dave, that are really into NBA My Team, and I'm in a group chat with them, and they always talk about it. And I used to play My Team, but like very little, but they're like deep into it. And, I just never could super get into it because like playing one game of NBA, like a game in NBA 2K is like about a half an hour, and you're not getting rewarded real well. You can bust out a FIFA game in 15 minutes. So you can play two and get, that's twice as fast. There's also just like a limitation to what you can do with your team. In FIFA, it's just like, there's so much. There's millions of players. You have millions of players. You have millions of combinations, all this shit. So basically what I'm just trying to say is this might actually become a card pro show, except I'm just going to talk about virtual cards, and Al can talk about real cards. But this is what made me a little more sympathetic to the Top Shot, because I'm just like, oh, that's the real thing that FIFA has over My Team, is that FIFA has an app, so you can do auctions and shit on your phone, and that's pretty dangerous. And I can see how this hooks people, and so yeah, that's why I am pretty sympathetic to Top Shot, because I'm doing the same thing but with virtual money, basically. But basically, besides that, anybody out there that plays FIFA Ultimate Team, let me know, because I'm a noob, and anytime I go to YouTube for like some mundane question I have, like people are not answering my beginner's questions for FIFA Ultimate Team at this point. They are years deep in this shit. I like anything I try and watch, it's like they're speaking an alien language to me, because they just know so much shit about this game, and I just started, but I really love it. The thing, it was down, like the server was down all day, and I was just like, fuck, because I can't really play tomorrow or Saturday, and I'm just fucking cocksucker, and so pissed off. But yeah, check out the FIFA Ultimate Team if you haven't, because it's a great, like, I've like for the past couple of weeks, I've just been like, I need something to take my mind off of the real world, in like the wrestling bullshit world, because I fucking hate wrestling. Like, I don't hate the wrestling I watch, but just like the bullshit that goes on Twitter and social media, I fucking hate it. All these people are horrible for like running during COVID times and all that shit. They're just all horrible people. And I just need, and actual real life sucks too. So I need this FIFA Ultimate Team addiction now, because it keeps me off my phone. It keeps me in the fantasy world of, my Ultimate Team. So it's great. It's a great way, to be addicted to something that's not super harmful. So I'm super into it at the moment. I'm glad I found it.
Speaking of soccer, I think you owe me an apology, Mike. 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I said there was pronounced.
I'll take it now.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I don't know, it's one of those things that slips into my mind where I'm like, it's pronounced Barca. And I know, like, after the episode was over, I was like, that's not how it's pronounced. Why did I say that? But I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things that gets into your mind that I don't fucking know. There's shit like that happens. So yeah, I'm very sorry. I don't know why the fuck I said that, but I don't know.
Apology accepted.
Yeah.
I too can't really relate to virtual soccer cards, but Mbappe has taken over the world, and I'm looking at my box of Mbappe cards, and just think I'm gonna buy a yacht soon. I'm really pumped about it. Along with cards, soccer is back. I'm happy to announce. So yeah, let's just turn into soccer pros, Mike. I'm sick of wrestling, dude. Yeah. Honestly, let's just talk about soccer.
Cards and soccer, and soccer cards, virtual soccer. All kinds of soccer. That's it. This is soccer pros now, guys.
I'm pumped. Yeah.
Finally, I have another apology to make, actually, too, besides to Al. Last episode, Uncle Howard from Uncle and Uncle Podcast wrote in, and he asked us if we thought the scoop slam could be a finisher. And at the time, I kind of dismissed it and said, no, it can't be a finisher, but I've been thinking about it ever since that came up. And there's a couple matches, older matches that I put on the last Pain Pigs that I watched. And it really, and that Bloodsport show happened last week. And that's kind of like we're trying to do shoot style, like that shit. And they're just like, oh, a body slam really hurts you, and stuff like that. But those older matches, I'm swayed. I'm sorry, Howard. I think a scoop slam in a Bloodsport scenario or in other scenarios, the person has to be definitely big, like not just muscular. Like Brian Cage is muscular, but he's also like 5'7". It has to be like a 6'5", like big bear of a man. And then I think I can believe a scoop slam as a finisher. So I've changed my mind. It can be done. It's not going to be done in New Japan Pro Wrestling or anything like that. But I think on the indies and I think WWE, if the guy's big enough, you could sell a scoop slam. So I am sorry, Howard.
I can go screw. Screw Uncle to Uncle.
And that's it.
That's fine. What a horrible way to end a fucking segment. Next up, today's topic. Next up for Next Gen Wrestling, Gaming Ass Mike and Gaming Ass Al throw up lobs to the wrestling game developers in hopes to shake up a pretty dead genre. Please stay tuned.
Okay, we are back here on Virtual Pros episode 125, and this is our main segment. These are things, they're modes, they're improvements, things we would like to see in this new console generation, video game console generation in wrestling games. I came up with this because, again, not specifically FIFA, but games like that, games like NBA 2K, even Madden, even MLB The Show, all those sports games. They have these big fan bases, and they're always complaining every year, like, this is just the same game, blah, blah, blah. And they have these weird complaints. Even for me, there's a lot of things in FIFA and NBA 2K, just little things that have bugged me for years. Like, there was a 3 or 4 year string in NBA 2K where they would always be one off when they announced your rebounds. And I would just be like, why can't you fix this? Like, this seems like such an easy thing to fix. But maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't make fucking video games. It just seems like an easy thing to fix that they overlook. And I think stuff like that leads people to be like, oh, this game sucks. But then you look at wrestling, which is technically a sport. And it's like literally like there's one wrestling game a year that comes out and doesn't even come out anymore. And it's a crapshoot. Like, you could read a review that's like, yeah, the submissions are totally broken. And that's it. That's what you deal with. The submissions are broken. It's just like if in 2K you were no longer able to shoot 3-pointers, like they're just broken. Like anytime you shot a 3-pointer, it went into the crowd. And they're just like, oh, that's it. It's like the last 2K, they changed the shooting thing. And people bitched about it immediately, and they just patched it in like a week. They're just like, oh, sorry about that. We'll put that, we're wrong. We'll fix that for you. That doesn't happen in wrestling games. You're just fucked. You're fucked as soon as you buy them. Outside of that, if you really think about it, they have not made any innovation or improvement in any wrestling game since like PS2. And that's probably being generous. they've taken things out of wrestling games since then. There's shit that's completely missing from wrestling games that doesn't exist anymore. So they're like, no one needs this anymore. There's like fucking Fire Pro for Dreamcast had like, I think you could do 8 men at once, and it took till like PS4 until that could happen again. Like there's just console generation skipped over where no one could figure out how to put 8 men in a ring at once. Just shit like that. That's insane to me. When you look at something like FIFA or NBA 2K, where you not only have like, in FIFA's case, 22 separate entities, going at it at once, but then thousands, like hundreds of teams, thousands of different players, all with all AI that, is moving in synchronicity with everything else, and all that shit's going on. They're keeping seasons. They're keeping fucking franchises. They're keeping entire years and years and decades worth of information. And you can't fucking do like a leg lock, like without having trouble in a wrestling game. And that's fucking ridiculous. And the last thing that made me think of this is that AEW, like I said, announced their console game, and then like a few weeks ago we're like, yeah, it's not going to have GM mode. We're not going to concentrate on that. And it's like, dude, you have a fucking PS5. You can make a 1 terabyte game if you wanted. You can't put in a GM mode. It's just, you're not going to concentrate on that. Like, what year do you think this is? Like, what if they're just like, NBA 2K, we're just going to have like season mode and that's it. We're not going to really concentrate on anything else. Just be like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, it's just ridiculous. So I think, if you are a fan of like other sports franchise games, and you should really think about how good you have it compared to anybody who's a fan of wrestling games, because they haven't had, like, people convince themselves and be like SmackDown versus Raw or whatever was a good game, and it wasn't really that good. It was all right. Like King of Colosseum 2 is probably the last good wrestling game, and I don't even know when that was. That was like 100 years ago. There's been decent games since then, but I think that was the last like real good one. So yeah, it's just crazy. So I think enough is enough. We should have, like I said, I don't know how video games are made, but I believe the things in my mind, we should have the technology at this point. It's 2021. I've seen some crazy shit in video games. They're making these new consoles. They gotta be useful for something in wrestling. So, that's why this came up. So my first one is the easiest one. And holy shit, it's been a problem since the beginning of wrestling games. I think the Vrtl Pro series is maybe the only one that got it decent. And that is make tag team wrestling good and fun and not a fucking chore to do. Handicap matches, the same thing. If you're going to put me in handicap matches, make them fun. Most wrestling games, it is hard to just tag your partner. Like that is like a chore to just tag them. It fucking sucks. The AI always sucks. They're always running in at the wrong times. In Fire Pro, it's just kind of like you playing like a mini game where you have to like knock both guys out to pin, because the AI second guy is always rushing in. That happens in the WWE games too. Why is this happening? This is an easy fix. You could, I could fix this. I don't even know how to make video games. You could just fucking, you could like hard map a tag button that always works no matter where you are in the fucking ring. Just press it and the guy automatically starts directing himself toward the ring. Other games do this. This is not a fucking hard fix. Why doesn't this exist? If you're gonna make us do tag wrestling, just make it fun, man. It fucking sucks. I hate doing tag wrestling in games. It is not even like, why is this so? You're tagging in it. They made Tekken Tag 300 years ago, and they figured it out. Like, why can't a wrestling game figure this out? This is fucking ridiculous. So that is the easiest one. I'm gonna hate wrestling games until I can have like a tag match that's at least moderately fun. Like you can have decent tag matches in Vrtl Pro and in Fire Pro if like it's a high learning curve, but you can be done, but it's still a chore to do. I want to pick it up and have a blast as soon as I choose a tag match. I don't want to be like, oh fuck, I don't want to do a tag match. I want it to be something that I look forward to. So hopefully, I think AEW might have that one covered. I'm not really hoping for WWE to have that one covered, but I'm hoping this is one tiny improvement that AEW can make, is make tag team wrestling fun.
I think I approached this topic with like option modes. And my actual like.
Yeah, I mean, my other ones are more option modes too, so it's okay.
Yeah, 2 option modes and like one where I just think this should be wrestling games from here on out. Some ideas that I had but didn't really flesh out. I typed Pokemon Snap, but Stardom Snap. Use your imagination for that one. That could be pretty good, I think. My first one, I'm completely speaking from like an outsider perspective because like I personally have never really been into the idea of like watching other people play video games on Twitch. Or what was even weird to me is like firing up Fire Pro, for example, and watching CPU versus CPU. I know you do that, Mike.
Yep.
And that's fine. That's cool. But I think the idea of a fan mode, I think that would like appeal like pretty strongly to people that watch CPU versus CPU. Like my initial thought was like maybe you could pick like different vantage points in the set piece for where you wanted to watch your match. Maybe virtual ringside, virtual balcony, virtual by the bathroom. I don't know. But like, then I thought, dude, we're in 2021. Like there are actual VR headsets.
Yep.
And maybe we could implement like tomato throwing in VR fan mode, or like starting the clap thing when you want to have someone escape a submission. I don't know. Or just maybe turn it into like a straight up 4K walking tour of like your local middle school gymnasium or like the Tokyo Dome. So maybe add a fan mode in this AEW game. Could be fun.
I remember one of those SmackDowns did manager mode, and it was kind of boring. Not manager, referee mode, and it was kind of boring. They might actually did manager too, but never fan. I think that would be pretty interesting, honestly. Especially maybe not with the graphics of Fire Pro, but with that type of promoter type thing, which actually kind of leads into my next one, which please make a goddamn... I know Fire Pro has Fire Promoter, and WWE used to have WWE Universe, but WWE Universe stinks. Like, I don't know how anybody ever got fun out of that thing. It was terrible. It has terrible AI. There's always like, if you let the computer book your week, it'll just put like your fucking heavyweight champion fighting on like the Saturday morning wrestling show, like main event or whatever they call it now. And it's like, this would never happen in real life. It's like, you can't, like, again, it's just kind of like, if you played season mode in Madden, they're just like, you played like the Ravens eight weeks in a row. And you're just like, why is this happening? Like, you can't keep a fucking schedule. Like, you're a computer. This is what you do is keep numbers and make them into schedules. Why can't you make it like realistic to have realistic guys fight each other? But anyway, I don't even need a booker mode. I want like an actual owner mode in wrestling. This was something they took out of Madden many years ago, but I think Madden 2004. It was that long ago. They had like I don't even know what it was called. I think it was called like owner mode or something. And you could like pick what snacks you sold in your stadiums and shit like that. And I fucking loved it. I was like, this is the greatest game ever. That was my favorite Madden. I played the shit out of that. I think that's the only thing that I played like more than one season in, just play like multiple seasons with the same team. I fucking loved it. And so I don't even need like, I know they have like Extreme Warfare Revenge, and it's just menus. Again, it's something that's completely outdated. It's like this guy's using like a 20-year-old like computer system to make a game, and you're just clicking on menus like you're fucking doing work. Like you're at work just doing Excel. And it's just like so many choices. I don't even need that. I just need something graphical. I want to own a wrestling promotion. I don't so much want to book it. That could be a part of it, but I just want to own it. I just want to be like the guy that's like, we got to fire this dude. He sucks. Like, I don't like him anymore. I don't like the look on his face. I just want something like that. Like I said, Fire Promoter sort of has that. Like, you can pick out like what you don't pick out specifically. You just press a button if you want to sell merch and stuff like that. I want that like more detailed though. With the same thing. Again, I don't necessarily need to book the cards, but just look them over and be like, no, take that guy out. I don't like him. Put somebody else in his place. Put this guy in that guy's place. Like, I want to actually own the fucking promotion and bring it from independent to global promotion. Again, it doesn't have to be super graphical. It can just be graphical enough where I'm not doing it like fucking Microsoft Office work. But it just seems something so easy. And again, like Fire Pro has Fire Promoter, and there's that Retromania game on the phone. So there's minimal versions of it, but I want a real deep version of it. And again, it seems like something that's doable that's just not done because there's not the interest in it. But, that fucking Football Manager game is popular, and they start making it for other sports now. So maybe, hopefully, one day Wrestling Manager will come out.
I do think there's room for a game, and maybe it exists, where it'd just be something akin to like Yakuza at the Hostess Bar dialogue tree games, where you have to talk to wrestlers and maybe fire them, or hire them,
I mean,
make them do things that'd be incredible.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't super into it, but NBA 2K, they didn't do it this year, but the last few years before this year, they did that with their owner mode, where it was kind of like, like story based, like Yakuza almost, and it's just like, it was weird. Like, I can't believe they did it, because it's such a weird thing to do it, but they did. And yeah, so I think the whole deal with that, like, I didn't really touch it, but I think the whole deal with that is like, that's more for the people who don't play the game and just want to like sim it. So it's doable. It's doable in NBA 2K. So there's no reason wrestling can't do it.
I mean, there sure is a lot of fanfic about wrestling. I'm sure you can pick up some pick up some writers or something like that. I don't know. I want that game. My next one, I guess this would be akin to something like a photo mode that some games have, or the Sega CD classic, Crisscross Make My Video, but with like augmented reality and face filter technology being the way it is. Like, I feel like if the next WWE 2K could somehow link itself to the WWE Network library, I think I would spend at least a couple hours like superimposing my face and body in some of my favorite wrestling moments, like Ultimo Dragon slipping a WrestleMania, or me with the Vader mask face filter, calling myself a fat piece of shit. And I would send that to all my friends after dinner or something like that, and I'd get like a real big kick out of it in my head. So, I mean, the technology's there. I mean, the library's there. Let me just edit some videos with my face on these wrestlers, and I think it could catch on like wildfire, personally.
And again, this is something they sort of kind of did before, which with the they took it out of 2K, but there was a few years WWE 2K. I mean, there was those few years where they did I think it was like Legacy mode or something, and you like went through like Stone Cold's highlights of his career. So you could just do that mode, but have your own your own me on it. Basically. There you
go.
Yeah,
exactly.
And just relive Stone Cold's favorite moments and shit like that. And that was one of my favorite modes, and they just took it out. So yeah, that's definitely something they could do. My last,
just me running down Jake Roberts, calling him an alcoholic. I would laugh at that all day long. It's fucked up.
My last one is again a callback to my new hobby, FIFA Ultimate Team, and this is something that I thought they would have done by now, like 5 years ago, and that is make some sort of card loot based kind of online presence for wrestling, and that's something no wrestling game has gotten right yet as internet, and that is crazy. It is crazy that you make like a competitive thing and you can't get the internet right. That is fucking insane to think about in 2021, that no one's gotten it right yet. And I mean, we bought that fucking Frisbee game, and that's just like so easy to do. And it has like an online. So it doesn't even need to be like an attachment to a regular game. Just make it, I mean, you have the money, just make it a fucking cheap thing that you buy digitally. That's kind of like My Team or Ultimate Team or whatever the fuck Madden calls it. And, you have this collectible aspect to it, and maybe it's like My Stable or something, and you build, or even like My Promotion, and you go against other people's promotions and you collect the cards and book like the better shows, or even, like I said, the stables where you're trying to get matches and you fight or you wrestle other people and shit like that. It's just, I don't know. I remember that fucking, that non-UFC, the EA MMA game even had like amazing internet. Like they had like people, it might have even been Moro. They had like real MMA announcers like calling your shit like weekly. They did this shit weekly. And this was fucking 10 years ago now, and they did this. So there's no reason WWE and every other wrestling game still in the dark ages, if AEW does not get this right, which I'm already skeptical after they said the GM thing, but this is the one thing they could really capitalize on people if they can get like a good kind of internet gaming thing going on where they can get really people to switch over. You don't need to be a fan of that specific wrestling. If it's a good video game and it has like competitive online, people are going to get fucking into it. So hopefully that is the one thing they get right. And as Kenny Omega being some kind of Street Fighter nerd, I do have a little hope that they'll at least try to get it right.
It is kind of sick that for as long as I've liked wrestling and as long as I like video games, I can't even really speak on an online experience with wrestling games.
Yeah.
Maybe the closest one was like having a lobby and playing WWE All-Stars one time, and that was pretty fun. But other than that, even the latest Fire Pro was so fucking janky. Like, you had to set up a password.
Yeah.
Like, it was horrible. But yeah, fingers crossed, I suppose. My last one is, I think I want a wrestling game in like the vein of like a Mirror's Edge with the difficulty of Skate. For those that don't know, I kind of am a masochist sometimes when it comes to video games. I think I am famously known for playing or trying to beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts at an advanced age, and I thought I beat it, but I didn't. I didn't see the credits roll, and I just quit. It made me so mad. But I played that game nonstop for like 3 weeks last year because I had nothing else to do. And I was also in the mood just to feel some pain. But I actually like Mirror's Edge a lot. It was really clean, and I thought they pulled off the first-person parkour thing pretty well. And to speak on Skate, you know, I think Skate came out during this time too. And they put like the skateboard game genre on its head by making it feel like an accomplishment to do like a really remedial trick, like a kickflip. You know, so maybe it's time for like a game to come out where you're like actually having to like time spots on the fly and execute them. And, you know, maybe like, you know, aside from the AEW game being like a love letter to VPW2, you know, just turn wrestling games on its head, man. I want to see something different. Like, make me call spots and like make it like a God of War game where I have to like fucking input buttons as fast as I can to like hit a body slam of all things. And I don't know, make me feel something, wrestling games.
I think that would make some people a little too humble for that, because the way a lot of people talk about real wrestling is just like they think all the shit wrestlers do is fucking easy. Like, I've said it before. To me, in my head, wrestling seems, not any wrestling, but good wrestling seems incredibly hard to do. Not even just the moves, just the story part where you plan it out in your head where it makes sense. Like, it just seems so foreign to me that somebody could fucking do that. So if you had to do that in a video game, I don't know, man. I think people would at least have a better perspective on how kind of hard it is to string together a good story while you can't watch the story. Like, when you're writing, you can read your writing back and say, okay, that sucks. You can't do that when you're wrestling. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I would be all for that. I think it would be the most unpopular wrestling game ever, though.
I'm with it, man. Fuck it, dude. All wrestling game anyway. Just fucking touch the bottom. Let me see something weird.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
that was it, right? You had 3, I had 3?
Yep.
Sick. Next up, the mixtape with Leon Spinks, rest in peace, Antonio Inoki, the American Dragon, and Psycho. Please stay tuned. And we're back with Virtual Pros, episode 125. Holy shit. Today's mixtape is a medley of things. If you have any suggestions for what we should watch on the YouTube mixtape, which you can find on YouTube, just type in Virtual Pros mixtape, it'll pop right up. Email us at virtualpros64@gmail.com, or I think we have a dedicated like mixtape channel or sub channel in our Virtual Pros Discord channel.
Yep.
So just link us if you have any suggestions. My first match of the night is Bryan Danielson versus Naomi Fuji. Remember that clip from from Vince Russo? Just me? Never mind.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, 10-5, 2008. This clip, it starts off with the Hammerstein Ballroom chanting something at the ring pretty fiercely. And I hope it's not sketchy. It sounded sketchy. I don't know. Do you know what they were chanting, Mike?
No, but I had it wasn't that one, but I had a similar note later on, but no, I don't know.
I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't bring it up, but we'll see. Marufuji, early in the match, he has the American Dragon in some leg scissors, but for a split second, he does this pretty ingenious thing where he pushes his thighs together to get a little extra squeeze. And I think this is ripe for stealing. This could get gift, and I think it would be all over Twitter if you did that. It's pretty smart. But yeah, this match, it's a pretty simple story to follow, and they do it super well. Of course, given the participants, it's pretty much 20 minutes of like one-upsmanship where both these guys are just putting on a clinic. And it's always pretty tough to review good matches, at least for me, because we can't joke about it. But I was actually shocked at the runtime because they crammed so much into the 20 minutes that this match went for. And I thought the last section was super good. I don't know if I'll watch this match anytime soon. But for me, it's a pretty strong recommend if you've never seen it. What'd you think?
Yeah, I never saw this before. It's kind of weird that there was no commentary for this because I imagine this was probably a pretty big match for ROH. So I don't know what the deal was. If this is just like the online version where they're just like, we don't need commentary, or I don't know. It's just a strange thing to not have commentary, but it's kind of cool. It kind of gives it a cool feeling to hear like a very hot crowd for ROH and independent wrestling in general. Marufuji, this is 2008. Marufuji is wearing pleather pants, and this is, I think, it's about the tail end of the pleather pants in wrestling kind of thing. People still do it, but his are kind of sensible. They're like a sensible fit of pleather pants, and it's kind of funny to think about that they kind of shrunk. The pleather pants kind of shrunk. And there's some people that wear those weird pleather tights, but it's kind of crazy that he's basically wearing like boot cut pleather pants, basically. It's a cool look. This wrestling, like the first third of it is kind of like, it's all good. Like, it's a very well wrestled match. I'm not going to shit on that. But it does, at least about the first third of it, seems kind of like a wrestling tech demo, basically, where they're just doing like, you're like, oh yeah, there's that move. Oh. I mean, it's all really good, but it's just kind of like, there wasn't a lot in the beginning to really, like grab me outside of just wrestling moves. There's like no story. I like a little spice, like a little grit in the type of wrestling I like. But then Marufuji does, I guess, what I would describe as a deadlift brainbuster from the floor onto the apron on Daniel Bryan. And that probably, you know what happens to Daniel Bryan later on in life. I don't think that deadlift brainbuster helped at all. I'm not like as we'll get into in the 6-man match, I'm not super well versed in Noah or Noah's wrestlers. It's something I never really paid attention to until recently. So I don't know if this is a regular move in his repertoire, but this is a very dangerous looking move. It's pretty fucking crazy. So that kind of won me over. As Al said, not at the beginning, but later on, I think like towards the middle, maybe a little before the middle of the match, you can hear the crowd chanting, "Shut the fuck up," which means that somebody else was chanting something else. And I know we have listeners that are like faithful to this era of ROH and that have probably been to this show. So, answer our question, Al's first one, what they were chanting at Marufuji in the beginning and what was happening where the rest of the crowd was chanting "Shut the fuck up," because I'm sure it was sketchy and racist. But I'm really curious what it was. So if anybody knows, let me know. This is, I think the coolest thing in this match, like I said, is well wrestled. A little, not as seasoned, like it's just kind of good wrestling. But what I did really like about this match is that it kind of sucks that this type of thing can't really happen anymore just because of the scope of the internet and the scope of what people have access to, where you don't get these matches anymore where it's like, oh, they brought him over and it's going to like, we're going to just have this one match and it's going to be against our best guy. That's fucking crazy. And so you get all these people in the same room that have probably traveled and are like fucking pumped. And you get that a little with WrestleMania weekend when there's not a pandemic, but it's still like, oh, like it's cool for the fan because it's like this guy's coming over, but it's like expected now. It's not like a special thing where you're just like, holy shit, they're bringing Kibashi, and now it's just like an expected thing. People are spoiled, and it's like you don't really have to work to even see these guys' matches anymore. You're not like buying DVDs or trading DVDs or tapes or anything like that. You could just like, if you hear so and so is bringing over, I don't even know, just like if they're bringing over like Taji Ishimori and you're not familiar with them, you can just fucking look at all of his matches like on YouTube immediately. And it's just the thing that when these guys come over now, a lot of them are just old now, and they're just like, we'll come over there for like an old guy tour. You don't get these guys in their prime having like 1 or 2 special matches for like a random weekend and then never seeing them again. So you don't capture this kind of magic on film anymore. So it's worth, like, it's obviously worth watching. These are 2 great wrestlers, but it's definitely worth watching just for that kind of feeling, because there's only a handful of these matches that exist that really hit the sweet spot, and they all seem to be ROH. There's probably a few other companies out there that did them. Obviously CZW brought over a lot of deathmatch guys and vice versa, but this was like the real magic moment where it was like the best US guys fighting the best US wrestling guys fighting the best Japanese wrestling guys. So worth a watch for that. My first match of the night is very old. It's Antonio Inoki and Giant Baba versus the Funk Brothers, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk from JWA from 1970. Originally, I was going to pick Inoki and Baba match from 1969, but this one had the Funks, and it was way shorter, so I was like, this is way better. I chose this because this ongoing Baba joke and this new Antonio Inoki joke that I've had that several people have already said to me, no, man, people really love Antonio Inoki. It's not like Giant Baba. But you know what? No one gave me recommendations for his matches, so I think you guys are still full of shit. Like, no one said, oh
shit, facts.
Yeah, no one's like, oh, you got to watch this match, because I looked on YouTube. He doesn't have a lot of matches on YouTube. There's no, you got to watch his matches because they don't exist. So, and you know, like I said, I was pretty complimentary of him last time. It's not like I hate the guy. I just think he's a t-shirt guy, like, you know, like a band, t-shirt band guy, where it's just like, you like the t-shirt. I don't know how much you actually like the guy though. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I never knew these guys tagged, and I kind of did because I remember reading that book where it said it, but I didn't know they were like a tag, like a real tag team that, just people were beloved and stuff like that. So I was kind of curious about watching this anyways. This is the oldest wrestling match in the world. This is fucking so old. It sucks. Terry Funk has a really cool nerd haircut in this. It's a very rare platinum blonde nerd haircut, Terry Funk. It's kind of a cool look. I think if you're a wrestler and you need a kind of a hook right now, watch this old Terry Funk and kind of style your hair like this, because it'll really make you stand out these days. That's for sure. The commentator. This is also a best of 2 out of 3 falls match. That doesn't really matter, but just so you know, the commentator is really talking about the spinning toe hold a lot. He mentions the spinning toe hold many times, and then Terry Funk gets in the ring and actually does a spinning toe hold, and he says it again. I would like to think, and this is 1970, this is probably like the most revolutionary move that anybody has seen at this time, I think, and that's why he's mentioning so much. I'm thinking he's just like, oh my god, I hope Terry Funk does a spinning toe hold in this match, because I really need to see that spinning toe hold, because it looks so cool, and I love when people do spinning toe hold. That's what I'm thinking he's saying, but because he says it so much, it probably is, when you think about it, the most revolutionary move in this match that happens, because outside of that, there's some suplexes, and that's all you get. Baba, though, this is so long ago, he actually looks somewhat muscular here. Like, he looks imposing. He doesn't look like a weird skeleton man here. He looks like he could actually fuck you up. So I imagine that was a sight in 1970 to see this giant Japanese man that was somewhat like muscular, bulky body. It is wild how easy it would have been to be a wrestler back then. It is insane. Like, you didn't do anything. Like, all you had to do is look like a wrestler, and that's what's crazy to me, because now a lot of indie guys, and I don't want to sound like some old school asshole that are like, oh, these guys are too short. I don't care about height that much, but they have dudes who just look like they work in the mall, just like they work at Auntie Anne's or something. Just like fucking 140-pound dudes with no muscles, just doing flips, and it's just like not even wearing like wrestling uniforms. And it's like, dude, even back then, when all you had to do was just sit in the ring for 20 minutes, they still lifted weights and like looked imposing. So it's crazy because it was really easy to be a wrestler, but they still put time into looking mean and scary and stuff. But they're not doing a lot. No one's gonna. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's all about psychology back then." Fuck off, man. You're full of shit. These guys aren't doing shit, man. What's the psychology in this? There's no fucking psychology in this. That is what this is clipped, thankfully, because after the first fall ends, which is by disqualification, by the way, weird way to end the first fall. They show the caption at the bottom. This first fall was 26 minutes. This is thankfully not 26 minutes on tape, but the first fall alone was 26 minutes. What was clipped out of this match? Like what they showed was terrible. It was, a lot of punches, spinning toe hold, double suplex, and then disqualification. So there was 19 more minutes they didn't show. Who fucking knows what they were doing? It probably wasn't exciting though. So fuck off with that psychology shit. This sucks. So yeah, this sucked. I'm not going to hold this against my Antonio Inoki report card. It's 1970. Wrestling was just invented, I think. So it was going to suck. I was hoping there was like at least a little more to it that could maybe pique my interest, but this was super boring and it sucked.
I'm pumped for Body Guy Mike era. This is cool. We are all familiar with Height Truther Mike era, but Body Guy Mike era, buckle in, everybody. Going to be a lot of Hercules matches, I feel like, in the future. That's fine. That's cool. I do think this is the earliest match I've ever seen Terry Funk in, which I guess by extension would make this the earliest Story Funk match I've ever seen, because Terry Funk, I think Mike talked about it already, he looks like a college basketball player, like from Duke in like the 70s. And it's like fucking jarring because the image of Terry Funk in my head is just like him with that stringy wet hair and a red bandana leaking. So to see clean cut Terry Funk, it's a little jarring. There are a lot of scoop slams in this match. So maybe the idea of this being a finisher was fucking shot 50 years ago. So, uncle to uncle, like they didn't even think this was good half a century ago. So that dream is dead. Like it's not going to happen. It's been 50 years. Even then they were like, this is something we can throw in. This is nothing. But yeah, the actual runtime of this match is 31 minutes. And I'm glad it was clipped because I am not into this grandpa wrestling at all. I beg you, Mike, please stop Inoki Pros. We can do Vrtl Bros again. We can bring back Baba Pros. That's fine. I hate this, dude. We can watch the... Go ahead.
I have a couple more people that are a little more modern, so maybe I'll bring it up a few decades.
Yeah, we can watch the one where Vader folds Inoki. That's sweet. Other than that, I don't care. My last match of the night is Taka Michinoku, Psycho, and Sanjay Dutt versus Tatsuhito Takaiwa, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihito Sasaki from Noah 5/8/2005. Taka is coming, motherfucker. Top tier theme music or god tier theme music?
Oh, this is so good, man. I don't recall if I ever heard this before, but it's just the WWF theme with his ad libs over it, and that is amazing. I wish he still used this.
It's incredible. I have it at god tier for sure. So out of the 6 people in this match, there's only one person I'm not familiar with, and that is Psycho. And I thought to myself, how many people in wrestling history have either gone by Psycho or have Psycho in their name? So if you had to take a guess, Mike, how many people do you think it is? Number-wise.
Of all time?
All time.
Oh, God. I would put it at like 300, I would think.
A little high, but maybe it is. It's 52 according to Cage Match.
Oh, okay. So that, I'm thinking of like, there's shit that's not documented on Cage Match, but yeah, as far as documented wrestlers, 52 sounds good.
But in true Mike fashion, I'm going to go over my top 5 psychos in wrestling. Number 5, Psycho Lolita. That's a cool name. Number 4, Psycho Steve. I want to know who this is because that sounds really ridiculous. Number 3, Psychosis, obviously. 2, Psycho Clown. And the number 1 psycho in pro wrestling history to me, Psycho Sid. Bonus, there have been 5 different Psycho mics, according to Cage Match. So that's something. Double bonus, Mike, where were you when you learned of the rumor that Paul Heyman wanted to change Al Snow's name to Psycho Sam Attic?
I don't think I ever heard that. I was right here.
I heard when I was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
Okay. You were today years old. That's totally
I was today
fun.
Years old, yes.
Just wanted to put you on game that was in play, apparently. I wish they went with it. There's a part in the match where Sasaki, who is pretty fucking buff, he does the standing suplex spot on Psycho, who weighs the same as I do, which is not a lot. And Sasaki holds him up there for a good amount of time. And I, Penny Omega, one half of the world champion Sound Vrtl Pros, I stand by the belief that the standing suplex strongman spot, it's a farce. I think that shit is not that hard to do. I think it's like the same thing as like giving somebody a piggyback. I'm not impressed with that in the way that I am when like a deadlift German happens. There was a time, I guess, when Cesaro, he had to gather himself when he had Sami Zayn in a standing suplex in NXT. That shit was crazy. But other than that, like standing suplex spots, that's just like a parlor trick. What do you think?
No, I agree. I do agree that it's a dedication to balance. It's not, it's not like, obviously the other guy's participating in this. And if you hit that sweet spot, you could probably just stay there until the one guy gets too lightheaded.
Bianca Belair, the queen, she was like, this is way too easy. And then she threw in squats, and I was like, okay, that's like a real test of strength.
Yeah.
But the last 20 or 30 years of standing suplexes, trash, bullshit. I hate them. But yeah, not a really memorable match. I don't know what I was really expecting by watching this, but if you hate Sanjay Dutterson, watch this match, because Takaiwa and Hunk Mode Ishii, they are putting the leather on Sanjay. It's fucking rude. What'd you think?
Yeah, I also mentioned the theme song. This is a great theme. If you've never heard it, they should put this on Spotify, but just watch this match just for that. You guys follow Pain Pigs on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern on our Twitch at VRTL Pros. I have been known to find some rare versions of Ishii. I have never seen this. This, according to Cage Match, this is his one documented Noah match. I'm sure he had more than this. I'm sure this was at least a tour at the very least. And he was on a few of these matches, but maybe they weren't televised or something, so it's not. I don't know. It's not on record. This is his one on record match, and it also has to be. I thought the last Ishii match I used for Pain Pigs a few weeks ago was his absolute hunkiest. It was for like Ricky Pro or something. I don't even know it was Ricky Pro, and he's only wearing tiny wrestling panties. And I was like, there's no way Ishii gets more hunky than this. But I think he's at his peak right here. This is peak hunk Ishii. If he got married, it was probably during this year, because I don't know. He probably had to lock that down at this point. He's also fast. I think this is even peak wrestling Ishii in this match, this era at least. I was familiar with Psycho, but I not familiar with this Sasaki guy. And like I said, it's because I don't watch Noah, so I don't know if he's a Noah guy. But I like this guy's style. I want to see more of the Sasaki guy. So, Al, you said you were familiar with him. Was he like a famous guy, or is he just kind of a guy?
He's just kind of a guy, to me at least.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of expected, but I don't know, because Takai was like the quintessential. I was a big guy at one point, and now no one knows who I am kind of guy. So maybe Sasaki was his successor. I didn't know, but yeah, Takai was in this too, and he's again like during the golden age of Koji Kanemoto and Shinjiro Otani. He was like the third musketeer. And I don't know what happened into his life. I don't know if he likes to sip on the bottle too much. I don't know if he has a gambling addiction, but he did not reach that legend status that those guys did. I still one day expect one of these like younger wrestling people that are on the internet, social media people, to be like, oh yeah, that guy's good. I watch him forever, and then he'll be like a guy again, but it's just like he's kind of lost in time. So it's kind of cool to see him in this. And I really this is one of Ishii's only Noah documented matches. So I don't know if these guys teamed more, but this is a very good team basically unappreciated wrestlers. Basically, all these guys are just guys that had these careers. So it's a good pairing. They're all pretty brutal in their own way. So great 6-man, even if the match isn't like amazing or anything. I also I think a lot of Sanjay's offense in this, a lot of over embellished offense for me. A lot of rolling around and extra rotations on flips and stuff where it's like, oh, okay, dude, like you're fighting these brutal men that don't care about this shit. But you know, it's good. It's entertaining. It was a good, like, kind of like, traditional junior flippy style versus like hard man junior, just beat your ass style. Pretty good 6-man match. My last match this was actually a recommendation from Hefe, that he made in the Discord mixtape channel. So we do use your suggestions. Actually, I kind of rely on them most of the time. So, they will probably get to, but he suggested Leon Spinks versus Mr. Ganisuke from FMW 1993. We did a Leon Spinks match on this years and years ago, but this is a newer one for me. At least I never saw this before. First, I gotta, and this is, if in case you guys aren't familiar, because he's old, Leon Spinks is an ex-boxer, and he's in boxing mode in this match. So it's basically like boxer versus wrestler. He is wearing boxing trunks, boxing boots, boxing gloves. It is not like Leon Spinks, in like Cain Velasquez, I am now a luchador style. He is 100% boxer in this match. Gansuke is, this was very old, 1993. This was before he got his kind of known look. And he ruined his Ishii level hunkiness. I don't think this guy, I think he enjoyed the food too much. Got a little tubby, a little less muscular. But back here, he has like a sick mullet, a sweet, sexy mustache. Great body, tiny pants. He looks great. He's barefoot though, which is fucking weird. I don't know if that was his deal. Not super familiar. I mean, I'm familiar with late era Mr. Ganisuke. I don't know if he's like a young boy here or what, or if this was just his look for a while. It's a weird look though. Barefoot, but wrestler pants. It's like, he's like a Von Erich or something. But it's, so it's weird to see this dude like that. Leon Spinks comes out to the national anthem. And I just think that's hilarious because, there's that girl, fuck, why am I forgetting her name? The one girl in Tokyo Joshi Pro, the tall girl, fuck. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Tall girl.
Fuck, why am I forgetting her name? We follow her on Twitter, or at least I follow her. I don't know. Anyways, she comes out to Old McDonald. Or she did come out to Old McDonald. And so I'd like to think in my mind that, they just gave these, well, I think they did give her that song to make fun of that she lived in America for a while. I think I'm hoping they gave Leon Spinks the national anthem because he lived in America too. And I would like to think it's kind of like a less damaging Yuki Kimufuku. That's what I'm trying to think of. Yuki. I'm trying to think it's like a less racist version of when they just give Asian wrestlers like the wind flute music. Like, I would just like to think it's just like, well, you're American. We're gonna give you like fucking the American Pie or fucking just a song like that because you're American and we think it's funny. It took a long time to get to that punchline though, so that was a bad one. Just ignore this part of the show, guys. It's real bad. This is during the for those of you who don't know, and you only know FMW from the Exploding Ring matches, there was a point in time where they were trying to do actual frontier martial arts, I guess, where they were trying to do like, you know, actual legit wrestling with these different kind of fighting styles. But the crowd does not give a shit about this. They do not care about this fucking match. They're laughing at one point of how stupid this is because this match is real stupid. It's basically Leon Spinks, peppering Mr. Ganisuke every 2 minutes and him being on the ground and waiting till 8 or 9 to get up. And then he might throw like a little offense and then it just repeats over and over again for 10 minutes. It sucks. It's fucking real. It looks real bad and fake. It's not fun at all. This is one of the worst matches I think has ever been on the mixtape in the history of the mixtape. This is just fucking terrible. It is an awful, awful match. But I will say at the end, Leon.
Yeah, Mike, you picked some pretty.
Listen, I didn't pick this match this time.
Is horrific.
Yeah, I didn't pick this match this time. Hefe picked this match. I don't know. I forget what the last match was, but I thought the last Leon Spinks match was entertaining. It was Onita and Leon Spinks. But what did win me over a little is that Leon Spinks wins this match after the 700th knockdown, and then at the end, Mr. Gansuke gets up and Leon Spinks gestures to shake Gansuke's hand. And so they shake hands, and then Leon Spinks cheap shots him while he's shaking his hand. And that's amazing, because he's the one who gestured to shake this dude's hand, and then he cheap shotted him. It's the biggest dick move ever. That's pretty cool. That was the only highlight of this match. This fucking match stinks, but that part was worth the watch to me.
Yeah, if I sound crazy, it's the internet. I apologize, but we're winding down. It's totally fine. Leon, he comes out to the national anthem for America, which is fucking hilarious. If you were on this FMW show, Mike, what generic?
It would have to be My mom is American Pie. Drove the Chevy to the left. That's like always.
That was my answer, man. God damn it.
Yeah, that's like always when I think somebody says America, even though I don't think that's like a super patriotic song, but that's what I always think about.
So I've always heard, since I'm in the biz these days as a serious wrestling podcaster, is the best way to throw wrestling punches is to pretend like you're holding an egg in your hand. Huh. With that in mind, who is the better egg holder between Leon Spinks and Shane McMahon?
Oh, definitely Leon Spinks. I don't think he looked that fake. It's just, could be better. I think he's a little new to this, but, yeah, I think he's a little better than. I think Shane McMahon is the worst, the absolute worst.
Yeah, I think Leon Spinks, he has issues with throwing punches because that was his living, and he doesn't want to kill Mr. Ganasuke, obviously. So yeah, there is some believability to his punches, but you can tell he's holding back, obviously. But I guess it's okay. I know it's already happened, but I just love to see the post on Twitter or on whatever message board forum this. I just want to see the post where someone declared that actually this style of FMW was a little bit better than post Onita year did, because I'm sick in the head and I think I'd get a kick out of it. But I think rest in peace, Leon Spinks.
I think that's going to happen. I have a good feeling. I was thinking that too during this match, and I think that is definitely going to happen within the next couple of years. That's a extra bonus prediction from last episode for you. People are going to start championing. But, at the same time, I know this is a real hot take, but I really like the entertainment era of FMW, and no one likes that shit, but I like it, so I don't know.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it, so I don't have a real big judgment on it. Maybe I'll rewatch it, but I do think that the peak years are going to be like 96 through 98, probably.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, this was horrible. Mike picked some winners for this podcast and its mixtape. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That was episode 125. Apologies if the last 5 minutes are rough. I don't know what's going on with my internet provider in my area. It sucks. And now my mic is dead. Vrtl Pros is just falling apart. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to talk about soccer next episode. I'm pumped. Wrestling's dead. I'm happy about it. Mike, last words.
Yeah, hopefully Al is unhaunted by next episode, and we can freely open the soccer gate, the forbidden door to soccer gate.
See you guys in 2 weeks.